Hey man, I'm Kevin Smith. This is the IMDb studio at Acura Festival Village. And look, it's the director and cast of The Nowhere Inn. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Kids, take me into it, man. It sounds like, I don't want to compare it to something, but it sounds like a mockumentary. I was going to say this is Spinal Tap, but that must be irritating as by now.
No, Spinal Tap is an
a high
incredible.
Place, right?
That's the pinnacle. But this, I think, is a little different.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Who's going to do it? Since you dove in there, do you want to take us into it?
Yes, oh boy,
I'd love to.
Oh, you guys.
Pressure's on.
You guys really set me up for this. No, it's a film about me as a musical artist, and my best friend Carrie plays the director of the film. She didn't actually direct the film. Bill Benz directed the film, and it's kind of the story of identity, and Carrie tries to make a documentary about me and realizes that I'm normal and boring, and then says that I should spice things up, more or less, and then it takes me down a road of horrible narcissism that was very easy to tap into. Right. And
acting was the early part.
Yeah, that was good. I was good on that. But and then it kind of turns into this thriller, horror, Nicholas Roeg style film.
Was that the plan all along? Did it begin as life as something a little simpler? Like, oh, let's just do a doc.
Much simpler, which is how we got funding.
We said they thought it was going to be a pretty cheap, inexpensive movie because it was going to be documentary footage and live concert footage and then interstitial sketches.
Right.
But sketch, and part of the charm of sketch is that it's a little clumsy, it's a little casual, but Annie and St. Vincent, her onstage entity, there's a formalism to that, and so we felt like we needed to even out the tone a little bit. So we just made it heightened and we made it very bizarre, and I think we ended up with a better film.
And at what point are you like, somebody else should do it? Because was there any point where you're like, oh, I could play the director and be the director?
I think so, but you know, Annie and I have such a shorthand, and sometimes when you have that kind of, you know, common vernacular, it's too insular. You need someone else to say, listen, not everyone, I need to translate this for the world. And so we sent the script to Bill Benz, who's a very brilliant director with a huge knowledge of cinema.
You would not believe my knowledge.
I mean, you would not believe the knowledge. Bill, go ahead, drop it right now.
You may be the first one here at Sundance that I've met, and all the time I've been interviewing people, who aggregated from Adult Swim up to here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Do you start off as an intern?
Yeah, I started off at Tim and Eric, actually.
Tell the story of how you lied to get the job.
Oh, yeah. To get that job, I Google Maps Tim and Eric, the words Tim and Eric, and their phone number showed up. And so me and my friend Mike called them, and when their office coordinator picked up, we said, we have been offered a job, we're supposed to start, where do we go? And she's like, what are you talking about? Just come in. I don't know. Just come in. And the next day we came in and they were so swamped. They're like, just help Rosie build those sets and we'll get. And then we were like building sets. We're like, okay. And then like wardrobe needs help. We're like, okay, yeah, wardrobe, we know about this. And then like it was like 3 weeks later we were editing. And I didn't tell them for like years that was the case.
Oh my God.
I lied to them too. I've never directed anything before in my life, so.
You absolutely fooled us all. The idea that like you kicked off a career in artifice by lying is like pitch perfect, man.
Yeah, I'm a liar, I'm a rat, I'm a scoundrel.
The next president of the U.S.
Thank you. Vote for me.
You edit as well.
Oh yeah, love editing.
I don't know many people that aggregate from editing to directing, but to me it makes absolute sense. It's where everything is set, particularly in a documentary, but it's the documentary, but it's not a documentary, right? Like there's some footage that was performance footage, I would imagine, is real.
Yeah, clearly, I mean, not clearly. The performance footage was totally real in actual shows with actual audiences. And then there was some footage that I had of just, you know, people following me around on my actual tour.
Right.
So there's,
that you could blend in there.
There's the real verite in there too.
How do you, so you got the background in doing first editing and then what, you wound up directing? I'm Portlandia and
Oh,
stuff like
no,
that?
Kroll Show was my first directing gig.
Get out of here. What did you do?
and
Did you do the Degrassi sketch?
No, my friend Dan did.
It's a genius
But
sketch.
those are
That
the
is
best.
such an
Yeah, yeah.
inside joke. That's where he bought me forever. I'm like, you're telling a joke for 3 people, and I'm one of them.
That
Thank
whole
you.
show is inside jokes. It's
Yeah.
like 80 inside jokes serialized, strung together. So, but then I got the opportunity to direct on Portlandia after that, and that's where I met Carrie.
So that's where you guys get comfortable with one another, and then
Yeah.
you're like, you know what? Let's bring him into the mix.
I always, you work on something, you're talking to writers, half the time you're like, I don't agree with this. But usually me and Carrie we're pretty simpatico, I think. Like we like the same stuff.
Do you find yourself being naturally deferential because they're also like in another art form? Like actors,
Yeah.
I could be like, you should do this. But if I dealt with somebody who's also a musician, I'd be like, you should do whatever you want because you're an artist at heart. I
There's
could never
definitely
stifle that.
stuff, like where it's I do not know the music world at all, and so definitely learning about it through both of you on this. And is this how it is? What's the right thing?
And
So
I mean, we didn't let Bill look us in the eye, so I think that
It's the easiest way to
helped
deal
him,
with the director.
understand his role.
How close to you guys do you play?
Both close, but also very different. I think we really reveled in the ability to deviate from who we are. I think that's very freeing. And we wanted to play with notions of fiction versus authenticity and realness.
Right.
And we wanted it to be a little confounding so that after a while the audience sort of wasn't sure who was who and whether we were really playing ourselves. And I think that was very enjoyable because we could tap into something that felt very earnest,
Right.
but we could also have a lot of fun and go down sort of chaotic rabbit holes. So it's both.
Yeah, and I think there's an aspect of it that's really hiding in plain sight. Like there are things in there that are completely true,
Right.
really personal, really painful, but they're, contextualized among other things that are not. So we could tap into that kind of heart stuff in a way that, felt elevated and hopefully not exploitative.
What is it about? Why do musicians, people in the music world, are drawn to comedy? It seems.
I have a theory about this.
Please.
I think that if you're a musician, you start touring in like a minivan, you graduate to, a 12-passenger and then a tour bus maybe if you're lucky. And I think that there's a lot of humiliation that you have to endure that is really character building, but also it means that you just have to have a sense of humor. Like, oh, I drove 12 hours, to Denver to get pushed off stage by a friend's trivia night. Okay, fine, and you're just like, okay.
That sounds so specifically memorable.
That was very, there's so many things. So I think you get a shorthand, and you kind of are pirates in this weird way, and you're used to squalor, and so it's just you have to get funny.
That's beautifully put, and it's nice that somebody went for it. Everyone's always like, I don't know. Everyone likes comedy, don't they? I'm like, all right, I'll shut up. That was a well thought out answer.
Thank you.
It was.
Kevin?
You and I are 90s kids and came up roughly the same time. So if I celebrated like 25 years of Clerks recently, Slater Kenny must have hit an anniversary or about to hit an anniversary?
For sure, yeah. I think 95. Yeah, so we're right there in the same zone.
So it's this year would be the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, I know.
What does it feel like to have been established in one career and then be over doing something completely different? Did you know or think or dream when you were doing Slater Kenny that one day I'm going to do movies, I'm going to do TV, I'm going to do this?
Not really. I think I've always wanted to connect with people. I've always wanted to do something that's heartfelt and that's things that are honest. But there's something, music is so sacred to me. There's always something about it that is very, I don't know, there's a real, it's just sacred. There's something profound about it. And there's not a lot of absurdism. I don't necessarily love when, like comedy bands.
I hate that specifically.
But I think absurdism is such a wonderful lens through which to view the world. Sometimes it's the only way to understand even trauma. So it was nice to be able to transition into something that allowed sort of a wider breadth of feelings and expression. But I would never have predicted it. But I feel like there's a through line of just connection and communication.
You work with a dude who I dearly love, and he was just in a movie that I made, Fred Armisen. And I'm touring this movie right now, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and I was just in Olympia.
Really?
Yes, I went and played in Olympia, which was a religious screening, because as you would imagine, if they're like, you're coming here? Like, they treated us like visiting royalty. It was wonderful. But my daughter's a massive, massive fan. And so while I was there, I went just like into town and picked a location, because it's a very long street, avenue, whatever, as you're well aware, and took a picture of a Slater Kinney sign and sent it to her, texted it to her, and she texted back with a photo of herself crying.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Isn't that beautiful? What kind of, like, doesn't that feel amazing to have that kind of impact?
It does. I never take it for granted, and it's the whole reason I do it.
It's beautiful. I'm going to hit you with 2 quick questions and then let you guys get out of here. What is the last show that you binged?
Oh.
Please say Portlandia.
It was not Portlandia. Succession, for sure.
So
Very
good.
popular answer
Season
this
2.
year.
So good.
Yeah.
You're just catching up.
Yeah.
The original Twilight Zone.
Get out of here, the black and white one,
the
Rod Serling classic.
Yeah.
They're so fantastic.
They're so fantastic.
I have all of them on, well, DVD this past. Now I'm sure you could stream them everywhere. What is your favorite?
You know, the one I remember the most is the one where there's the woman who's been badly in some kind of accident or whatever it is, and all of the hospital staff look like those pig people, and they're like, oh God, this woman's hideous, what a horrible, horror show. And then at the end, you see that she is a beautiful woman. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
Flirty Dancing. It's on Hulu.
It's amazing.
It is a reality show where
Sell it.
2 people individually to camera learn a dance number, and then another person learns both dance numbers. They meet and dance wordlessly for the first time, and then you have to date one of them after. I've seen every episode. A+.
Bill wins.
I saw the one dance that like went around the world and was like, holy crap. And it looked like something that was made just once. They're like, they do a lot of these. There's many episodes of this. I can't wait. Last one. They're going to make a biopic about your lives. Who plays you in a biopic?
Me?
Yeah.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Excellent, Paul.
Yeah. That was a no-brainer, though.
Yeah, I mean,
That was a softball.
A believable intern as well.
Yeah.
That's it. Who plays you in a biopic?
Just because I love her so much, Jenna Rollins.
Oh my God, what a great Paul.
I'll just go with I'll go with Brad Pitt as well. Yeah. I think that's a good option for me.
Very versatile.
Give it up for the kids from Nowhere In, ladies and gentlemen.